All right, we're about to do the T9 truck front part. Start with 2D sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to draw a rectangle centered around the origin. We're going to put a formula in to lock it in and keep it centered around the origin. So you do the overalls first, overall width, overall height. And then we're going to go ahead and do one side to the origin. And that dimension is going to be the overall divided by 2. Do the same thing from the bottom to the origin. Overall height, click on it, divided by 2. So I put the formulas in before I actually put the correct size in. So once the formulas are in, it's all locked into the origin. You'll see lower right where it's fully constrained. We'll go ahead and put the real size in. Remember, shape before size. So the width is going to be 3.17. And then the height is going to be 1.53, overall height. Okay? So we'll hit the green check, finish sketch. Go ahead and extrude it. We're going to do a symmetrical extrusion. The distance for the extrusion is going to be 1.6. Click OK. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to put the headlights in. But we're going to do that by using a work plane. And you go under the ribbon under where it says Work Features. Drop down. We're going to use Offset from Plane. What we'll do is we'll spin this around and click on the back of the part. I want you to notice the arrow that's coming out. We want to offset going into the part. So if you look on the drawing, the reference for how deep the headlights go, reference from the back out, there's a 0.6 dimension. In order to get that back, we have to use a negative number. So you have to type in negative 0.6. Notice how that plane works into the part. Look on your model browser over here too, and you'll see where it says Work Plane 1. So now what we want to do is do a 2D sketch off of that work plane. And you don't need to, you can click on the model here, but you can also click on the model browser where it says work plane. You can click on that, and it will allow you to start sketching on that work plane. Now, one other issue that I want to address is the fact that we want to work on that plane, but the part is in the way. So, little trick here, if you go to the sketch where it says Sketch 2, right click, go down to Slice Graphics. And what that'll do is that'll show what we're working on, where our plane is at. So once we slice the graphics, we can see our sketch. What we're going to do is get right on the view again, and we're going to start sketching the headlights. And I'm going to sketch just random circles. Watch this. So just sketch circle here, sketch circle here, circle here, circle here. Notice they are very random. I didn't size them up. I didn't place them in the right spot. So once I have them all created, now I'm going to go through and I'm going to dimension. I'm going to dimension one side. We'll start on the right side here. And I'll show you how we'll take care of the other side. So let me go in. Let me zoom in. Let's put a dimension on here. We'll put a dimension for the diameter. The diameter is given as 0.2. Let's click 0.2 for the diameter. And let's go ahead and do a linear dimension to locate this. So I'm going to do a linear dimension from the center to the edge. And that dimension is going to be 0.32. And I'm going to do a dimension from the center to the top. That dimension is going to be 0.18. All right, so we have that first circle located. So what I'm going to do, when I have that information, I'm going to use that information to help me build the rest of them. So for this circle here, what I'm going to do is put a diameter dimension in here, but I am not going to type 0.2 here. I'm going to click on the existing diameter dimension, which is D7. You see the name here, D7. So hit the green check, and then you'll see a FX here for a formula. That formula is simply referencing from this diameter. All right, so let's go ahead and put the rest of these constraints. We're going to use a combination of geometric constraints and a couple of dimensional constraints. Let's do that right now. Let's put the rest of these on. I'm going to dimension that circle here, but I'm going to link it back to the original dimension, which is D7. And I'm going to put a dimension on this circle here and link it back to the original D7. So the benefit of this right here, linking all of these diameter dimensions back to the original, is so that if we ever wanted to make a change in the diameter of these headlights, we could just change it right here and they'll all update at the same time. It's just a little technique that we want to use, for parametric modeling in Inventor. All right, so let's go ahead and line these up. We're going to use a horizontal constraint, and we're going to lock it in from the original here. Put a horizontal constraint to that one. Let's put a horizontal constraint to that one. Do another horizontal constraint to the fourth one. Okay? So if you notice, now they're all lined up. And I didn't use any other dimensions other than the original dimension to line that up. It's a geometric constraint. So let's go ahead and line it up to the left edge here. So I'm going to put this dimension in here. But I'm not going to type in the number. I want to use, since it's symmetrical, I'm going to use the original dimension. So notice you have that formula in. Let's go back and put this dimension in. We're going to physically put this dimension in, which is 0.27. And then when I do this one on the left side, I'm going to use that same dimension, which happens to be D14 at this moment. Green check. Notice how all my circles, all four headlights, are black. You look on the bottom right, they're fully constrained. I'm going to go ahead and finish my sketch. And I want to extrude. I'm going to extrude them, but it might be difficult to select them. So zoom in. You can't see them, but you move your cursor around, you will. Move your cursor, try to find them, and click on them. Okay, so I see them there, see them there. So I'm going to do a cut, and I'm going to send the direction back the opposite way. I'm going to use the distance output to through all. And there you go. You have your four headlights coming out of the block. Hit OK. And there we go. All right, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a custom contour down through here off to the right side. And we're going to use spline tool. So let's start a 2D sketch. Click on the right side. Drop down underneath the line tool where you have spline control vertex. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to click on and get the green ball in the upper right corner. Click on that. And if you bring down your cursor, you're going to want to click multiple times down through. Just keep clicking. And that clicking will give you a control point. So when you get down to the very edge, I want you to click the green check and complete, or you can right click and click create. So that'll create your spline. See all the dots here? Those are your control vertexes where you can take and grab and change the shape of it, change the profile of it. All right, so that's very handy to be able to do. So right now, this is just custom. We don't have any specs to go off of. We're just going to kind of eyeball it up and make it custom. So everyone's will be different. So I'm going to go back to the line tool, and I'm going to close this off. I'm going to go to where I get this snap green ball, go from that right side to the left side, click Align again, and scroll all the way down and get to the bottom here where it snaps closed. We want a closed object here, closed geometric shape. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and finish my sketch. And we're going to do an extrude cut. Do an extrude cut, set it to through all, send the direction, to cut across your block. Click OK once you're done to take a look at it and see what we got. So that's our profile. Now, we may want to make some changes to it. So, first of all, I want to turn off the visibility of this work plane. So I can go to that work plane, right-click on it, uncheck the visibility. Now, I can go back to the original sketch that I did that contour profile. Right-click, Edit Sketch, and I want you to see where I can drag. I'm going to do this, like, embellish this a little bit. Look how crazy my design is. When I finish my sketch, look how it updates it. See how you can immediately see the results of you changing that profile. So what I want you to be able to do is try to mimic that on the drawing and get it as close as you can. So obviously I didn't want that. That was a little bit much. But I'm going to go through and try to get it as close as I can to what that drawing shows. Okay. A little bit of a hood here coming up. So I can finish that sketch and you can see how your design is enhanced. All right, the next thing that we're going to want to do is fillet these sharp edges. The radius on the drawing calls for 0.3 radius. So let's go to the fillet tool. Let's set the radius to 0.3. And you have to watch here. We want to click these edges. And sometimes these edges are messed up. So we want to go around and click all of the edges. Around the bottom, across this front bumper area. Click OK, and there's your 0.3 radius. Okay. All right, next thing we're going to do is put this little bumper feature in. I'm going to click 2D Sketch on the right side. I'm going to draw a circle. Notice how I just draw my circle anywhere. You'll notice on the drawing that the radius of this arc is 0.19. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimension on here. Instead of doing the math, I'm going to go 0.19 times 2 because that's diameter. Because that's the dimension that we got to put in when we have a full circle. So I'm going to dimension this thing from the back edge. And to the center, it's the full width of the part, which is the depth of the part, 1.6. And then I'm going to do a 0 dimension from the center to the bottom edge, put a 0 dimension in there. And you'll notice how this circle, just a little portion of it, is going to catch the front bumper object here. So finish sketch, do an extrude cut, through all, click OK. And that's what we're after. Just a small little feature here, a little detail below the bumper. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the socket in the back, the socket cutout. Do 2D Sketch on the back. Let's do it by creating a rectangle. And we're going to go off the origin here, dimension it, do the overall width, overall height.